Okay, guys. The game is called Steam and Iron, and it's about the naval warfare in World War One. Perhaps the most famous event for it is Jutland, and this game is a campaign mission, and I'm playing on the German side. The year is 1917. The campaign and some of the ships were modified by me, and so by this time of the year, I have some advanced battleships like the L-20 Alpha class that was not never uh, never came to fruition, and I have all four uh, dreadnoughts of the Bayern class um, came into service. Also, I have the Mackensen and Ursus York class battle cruisers and some battle destroyers for the German side. But my numbers, while my quality is at an advantage compared to the British Grand Fleet, my numbers are at a disadvantage. I have altogether 16 battleships and at the moment 11 battle cruisers, and the majority of them are in repair because I have fought a very bitter battle with the British since the end of 1916, and almost all of them are in repair except maybe 10 or so capital ships are still available. And so here we go. My intention in this mission initially was just to lay a minefield near the British Scapa Flow Grand Fleet Harbor. Intention was to lay a minefield, and perhaps some of their ships will trip over a mine while they are returning to base. But as you will see, things go. It erupted, so to speak. And here we go. And at this moment, you can say that my spider sense is tingling because there hasn't been a major engagement between capital ships from the two sides, and I was kind of thinking it's probably gonna happen in this mission because the AI has a tendency to not sortie their capital ships for a few, one or two or three missions, and then they come out in mass. And so I thought this might be the time that they come out. So I emergency activated all my available BBs, and I thought if they don't come out, the British battleships, I might as well destroy some convoys or bombard some short targets or things like that. So I activate them anyway. And as you can see, my destroyer forces have been uh, mostly in repair because I use the flotilla attack quite a lot, and the DDs end up get damaged a lot. But I think it's worth it, as you will see in this mission. And so my battleships are activated. And here I'm just checking to see they have enough destroyer escorts, because enough of the escorts are essential for a successful flotilla attack. And I think they have enough. So here we go. And we run into the first enemy ship. At this point, I don't know what they are, but as past experiences show, if an enemy ship appear in this area around the Great Fisher Bank, while Jutland is way over to the east, the AI in this game never rarely, well, don't don't usually go to Jutland, but they usually appear around west of Great Fisher Bank. That's according to my experience. And there is no doubt in my mind that it's a major enemy formation. There must be dreadnoughts or battle cruisers in them. And so at this point, I'm thinking the mine laying mission is definitely scrubbed. It's going down the drain because my light forces composed of light cruisers and the destroyers have run into a battleship or battle cruiser formation, and I need to run to my home port and drag them to my battleships, to my dreadnoughts once they are activated. And here is going to be my plan. I drag them. And it's basically a cat and mouse game. You can't go too fast because the British battleships will give up the chase and return to their mission. And if you go too slow, the light cruisers will get hammered and they will sink. So it's constantly adjusting their speed to keep them within the sight range of the battleships, but not too close to get pummeled by their main guns. And here I run into a fluke, kind of a fluke of the game, and somewhat can be somewhat avoided, because if you sortie your ships out of the port at more than cruise speed, which is 16 knots, the formations will, I guess, set to every formation is every division, it goes back to independent state, and I have to reset them. And now that it's done, my battleships, I set them racing toward my light forces, and my light forces racing toward my home port. And I just hope at this point that the battleships will catch up with my light forces, and hence the British battleships, before the sun sets, because otherwise if they meet after the sun sets, it's gonna be a night battle and it will be a mess. Luckily at this time of year the daytime is kind of long, so we have that in our favor at least. And as you can see, due to my racing out from the port, my battleship formations are kind of scattered, but at this point I don't have time to reduce speed and let them reorganize themselves, because I just don't have the luxury of time on my side at this point. And apparently the British dreadnoughts have caught up with my light forces, and I launched a well, I intended to launch a flotilla attack to push them back, but I thought since the dreadnoughts are close to my own, might as well tough it out and hang on to them. And at this point, my light cruiser at the end of the formation gets a heavy hit, and its top speed is reduced to about I think 23 knots. Yeah, it's not too bad since the battleships don't do. I think these guys don't do over. Oh no, they are Queen. They are QEs. They are Queen Elizabeth, so they can catch up with me. But my battleships are close. And I turn my battleships to the north because as you can see, the wind is blowing from the east, and I want to gain the upwind position, because the smoke is going to blow their way and obstruct their gunners' vision, so their hit rates will be reduced. And I reduce speed a little bit so my following battleship divisions can catch up a little bit. Or that's what I hope. But apparently the majority of this engagement is carried by the two Hessen class dreadnoughts of mine. That's the L-20 Alpha class. That's the name. It's actually a mod downloaded from the forum, but I find it's a good name, so the Hessen class. And I changed the light cruisers role from scout to screen, so they don't stray away from the battleships too far and get pummeled by the British battleship's main guns. And at this point I launch a flotilla attack, because as you can see, the British BBs are coming my way, and I drag them a little bit so they come head on to my destroyers. And the destroyers are launching their torpedoes, and the AI formation is instantly in disarray. And I turn my battleships a little bit to the left to press on the attack, while the AIs run from my destroyers. No, it's okay if you lose a few destroyers, because I think both sides have plenty of destroyers to spare. And here a QE BB is hit by a torpedo, and he will be doomed. And my destroyers are right in there. And that one has 3 torpedoes. It will sink. And at this point I pull my destroyers back, cancel the flotilla attack, because as you can see they're straying quite far away from my battleships, and I want them to return to my battleships, and when they're in position they will launch another flotilla attack, because the lead enemy battleship division is way over to the west, and there are a trailing to the east. So that's not a good position for the destroyers, and the AIs don't know what to do with them at that point. So I call them back. At this point, I have a cunning plan. The plan is to run my light force. As you can see, my light force still have mines on board of them. Sometimes when the ships get damaged, the AIs will order the ships to jettison their mines, but in this case they did not. They have successfully dragged the British dreadnoughts to mine without taking substantial damage. And at this point, I'm thinking I run my light force over to the mine laying point and lay the mines before the British formation can return to base. And they will probably run into a few mines on the way home. So that is my plan. I order my light force to the west and go around the British formation, because the light force have a higher top speed. That was my intention at that point. Run them past the British formation, bypass the British formation, and lay their mines. And I check the sunset time, which is about less than 2 hours away. I just want to make sure that I have enough time of engagement left to destroy the British formation, or at least their capital ships within the formation. And here another QE class goes up in flames due to a turret flash fire. The British capital ships do tend to flash fire a lot, but you can alter that value within the game. You can set their value to the same of the Germans if you want, but yeah, I probably should do that. They definitely do a lot of flash fires in this game. And now all they have left is one battleship. My Bayern class and Kaiser class battleships have just arrived, and they are shooting at ships that are already sinking. So that's not helping much, but you can't order them to cease fire at this point, because there are a lot of other ships around. Okay, at the top left of the screen, you can see glare. That's the light. That's the way of the game indicating that sunset will be imminent. And here we have sunset, and I immediately order my dreadnoughts to close up on the British battleship, so they don't lose sight of their targets, well, for too long. Here we are at twilight. That's the lighting between night and day. They still have a reasonable sight range, but it's greatly reduced, but in a few minutes it will be night. Okay, so the last one of the British QE BB blows up due to another turret flash fire. And I'm thinking at this point I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to send the dreadnoughts home. The remaining British ships are all light ships, and my BBs are not equipped to fight them in the dark. But you can still tough it out. You can still kind of duke it out with them in the dark, but you can do the job better and suffer less of a cost with light cruisers. So I intend to RTB my battleships. However, there are still lots of enemy ships in the area, and they keep running into them. Here, my light force, the mine lane light force, the previous one, runs into the British guys, and well, it's a small scale engagement at this point, because I'm not in the mind to stay and duke it out with them anymore. I want the light force to lay their mines, and I want the capital ships to return to base. Yeah, night contact, immediate turn away, immediately launch flotilla attack. Although in this case there are no capital ships, so I guess the destroyers don't know where to go. So, but still, it's good practice. Immediate turn away and immediate flotilla attack. And here one of my light cruisers is hit by a torpedo. Luckily, it's not one of the ships carrying mines. It's got quite some flooding, so I reduce its speed to 0 to reduce the flooding and hope the damage cruise limits the flooding quickly. Yep, night battle. It is quite a mess. Well, sometimes you have to fight the night battle because, you know, you sortie out 16 battleships, then the enemy sortie out 20 battleships, and you meet in the dark. You have to fight, otherwise it's a wasted mission. But in this case, I don't really want to fight. And this is the damaged light cruiser by the torpedo, and I find out that it hasn't suffered too much damage. It's just got its engine damaged, so at the moment it can't go very fast, but once its engine is repaired, it will remain functional. But apparently I send it home either way because, you know, I just want to lay mines. If the ship is damaged, I send it home anyway. So at this point, the first battle in this mission is concluded, basically, and the battleships go home. The light forces resume their mine laying mission. So on the way home, the damaged light cruiser that was torpedoed meets up here. It says destroyer, but it's actually a light cruiser, the enemy C-class cruiser, and I duke it out with it a little bit, but I can't sink it. With light cruiser and two destroyers, the firepower is kind of weak to sink it, so I let him go in the end. As you can see, during the night battle, the game is chasing the other guy's 6, kind of like an aerial dogfight. Because the 6 o'clock, the enemy can't launch his torpedoes on you because it's out of his firing arc. So if you have a well, it's my practice anyway. If I'm sailing a couple of battleships or battle cruisers and I meet with enemy light forces, I chase them from their 6 o'clock. Nah. Here one of my Bayern class Saxon dreadnought is torpedoed actually by a British submarine. At this point of the war, the Brits got lots of submarines. I don't know how they managed that amount of submarines, but they seem to amass around my home port area. And here another ship is damaged by drifting mine. Well, nothing major, of course. Another drifting mine. And my battleship formations return to home port. And now we come to the mine laying mission. I want them to come in at an angle so the lines of the mines actually are perpendicular to the British sailing course when they return to home. And that will be about 225 degrees or around that. Actually, the Germans have the German Brahma class light cruisers are actually very excellent mine laying ships because they have a large mine capacity. They have 400 mines, so it's gonna extend out to be a very long line of mines, which is great. Yeah, sorry, my VPN just disconnected and popped up, and around this time I think I stopped capturing the video to deal with the VPN, and yeah, sorry. And here you can see that immediately after the recording stopped, on the way to home, we ran into two enemy convoys. These are two large convoys, and it's very rare that you meet both of the convoys in the same mission, and I think I kind of hit the jackpot on this one. And here a great tragedy happens. One of my light cruisers is torpedoed by one of my own destroyers, and it sank it. And at this point I definitely cursed my brain out because, you know, you ran so much engagements with the enemy, and the only ship that was the only a big ship that was sank is actually torpedoed by one of your own ship. The irony in that. And so Emden is sank. Okay, at this point I'm thinking, yep, this mission is mostly done. I just need to return to base, and that will be it. I've destroyed the enemy capital ships. I've laid my minefield. I've dragged the enemy capital ships to my own force. Yeah, it's one hell of a mission, but it's not going to end yet. And here comes daylight. Here goes up the sighting ranges. And we got a contact. And you can see the wreckages of the sunk ships already there. I turned my light cruiser to manual control to investigate, and it turns out to be another light cruiser. And you know when you run into light cruisers that what is following behind them are badasses. So at this point, it's the second time I've got a major contact on enemy capital ship formations. Yep, you see the 3 blue dots over there, that's definitely a battle line. And you know, what the hell, I'm not about to leave one of my guys behind, so I send the remaining of the light forces to help, and I activate my only other available capital ship division, which is the 3 ship USS York class battle cruisers. As you can see, my destroyer force within the battle cruiser force is already decimated. There's a division that's got all of these ships under repair, so I basically activated every one of my destroyers. If a division has got 2 ships in them, I activate it. So yeah, that's the second time I go for emergency activations in this mission, which is, I think, a first time for me. Usually I just emergency activate once and that will be it, but that is not the case. Okay, so these guys turns out to be battleships, because at first contact they were identified as battle cruisers. If they were BCs, my light force is done. They will definitely be done if they are BCs, because the BCs are fast, my light forces cannot outrun them. But these guys turned out to be battleships, so then my light force stands a chance after all. And at this point I run my remaining light forces to meet with the lone light cruiser Rams. You know, just to help him a little bit, but I don't think it can help much. My only hope is wait for the BCs to arrive or outrun them, which I can do, but at this point my plan is rinse and repeat my last one, which is drag the enemy battleships to my battleships. And apparently the British guys don't want to fight. It's probably, I don't know if these 3 battleships are emergency activated by the AI, or it probably is, but it's quite close to scenario time limit. It's the scenario goes for, I modified it to, the original was 4,400 minutes, I modified it to 5,800 minutes, but we are now at around 3,600 minutes. So the British guys, the AI is probably trying to get home, and it's got these light cruisers on its ass trying to harass it, so it's kind of torn between RTB mode and engagement mode. So I kind of press my light force into the British BBs to lure them into engaging me, and they do at this point, but I cannot, on the other hand, run too close because they will sink me. So it's another game of cat and mouse, only this time the mouse is a little bit more aggressive. Here I'm actually thinking, if we can actually sink this light cruiser C-class, but as it turns out we can't, because the sight ranges are right over there, and the enemy battleships can just sit outside of my fire range and shoot at my cruisers, and I can't do anything about it. And I cannot launch a flotilla attack. It's not I cannot, it's just I don't want to launch a flotilla attack because that will drive the BBs away, and that is not what I want to do. I want to drag them into my capital ships, not drive them away. And then at this point, I gradually realized that the Brits just don't want to fight. They want to go home. So my initial plan toward this engagement did not work. The Brits just want to go home. I cannot chase them down and kill them because I'm just a formation with light cruisers. And my BCs are ready to sail, and this time I don't increase their speed, so their formation can be retained when coming out of the port. And yep, it's at this point disengage. We are disengaging. Just a few more rounds. I'm still attempting to get them back, but here they are goners. They are just going home. They're not turning in to engage me anymore. Lay some smoke, probably not gonna help much, but you know. at this point I'm disengaging. So yeah, that plan did not work. The enemy disengaged, and I don't have the staying power to drag them on. So at this point, my new plan is direct my battle cruisers directly to Scapa Flow, and hopefully, since the battle cruisers can travel faster than the enemy dreadnoughts, hopefully they will catch up with them on their way home. And that's what I will be doing. I will run the BC straightly to the Scapa Flow enemy port. Meanwhile, just navigate the life force to home port. This time they are really going home. Yeah. Okay, we've got a contact, but it's actually the contact is made by a light cruiser that's out of command lines. That's out of command by me, so I cannot control it. But as you can see, those dots are indicating battle lines, so I immediately run my BCs back. I know they are enemy capital ship formations. Yep, I have no control over CL Heidelberg at this point, but apparently the enemy BB is not chasing it either. So we have contact of enemy battleships with my battle cruisers, and I immediately launch a flotilla attack. The time here is still twilight, so sight range is kind of low, and we managed to get quite close. And just as we came in contact, it changes into daylight, and I immediately get some separation from the British BBs, and they are immediately hit by my destroyers torpedoes. And since my battle cruisers can sail faster than the BBs, from this point on I basically have control of the battle. And here you can see one of them is already taken torpedo, and they are caught between my destroyers and battle cruisers, and they are definitely in disarray and confused. You know, if it were me in that situation, I wouldn't know what to do either. One side you have destroyers launching torpedoes at you, and the other side you have battle cruisers shelling you with main guns. I wouldn't know what to do either, and they are definitely in disarray at this point. And I just maneuver my BCs to try to box them in. And my destroyers are all around them. One more torpedo hit. That Canada class battleship is sinking, and another turret flash fire, and that will be the end of this 3-ship dreadnought formation from the Grand Fleet. I call off my flotilla attack, and it's just mopping up for now. I don't think the enemy formation has any ship left at this point. Every one of them is destroyed. That light cruiser even is destroyed. Oh, there's one more left over. It's the armored cruiser. Um, I think it went out in flames in just a few hits. Ah, nope, it's the light cruiser. Yeah, that would be the damaged light cruiser from the previous engagement. So now I'm trying to return to home port, and there is another problem. The scenario time limit is about to run out. And as you can see here, I'm trying to increase the cruise speed of my BC so they can arrive home before the scenario time ends. You know, we've had two major engagements and various small engagements over the course of this mission. I'm kind of amazed that I can make it back in time, but we made it just in the nick of time. And now the scenario ends. So the dust settles and the enemy lost all of its dreadnoughts, all 7 of them. It also sailed 2 battle cruisers, but we never encountered them. It also lost 1 armored cruiser and 5 light cruisers, 8 destroyers, and 12 commercial liners. So that was quite a battle for the German side. Checking the result damage list. Mostly I just check which ships have been torpedoed, because you know, gunfire hits are not at all uncommon. You know, you usually score some 30 to 50 hits to sink a capital ship, but torpedo hits, uh, usually 2 or 3 of them will be enough to sink a capital ship. So here I check the torpedo hits. As it turns out, this was one of my most successful flotilla attacks with my missions. I've never had so many successful torpedo runs before. There are about 3, I think about 4 enemy cable ships that was mainly sunk by torpedoes. This Emden is sunk by one of my own destroyers, which is a huge bummer. And apparently, yeah, as you can see, BB Saxon, which is one of the Bayan class, Dreadnought is torpedoed by one of the Brit submarines. Yeah, this one is actually torpedoed by the British light cruiser. The last mission I had, um, the mission before this one, I've had three torpedo hits on my ships, and all three of them were torpedoes from my own side. I don't freaking believe it. You know, all the it was a major night battle as well. All the engagements, all the shooting were done at night or low visibility situations, and none of my battleships were caught in torpedo strikes from enemy ships. But I've got three torpedo hits, and all of them were from my own ships, which is totally unfair, I think. But no, well, what can you do? And this is just to show the huge repair list of my damaged ships. Some of them are due in repair for about 14 weeks or so. Alright guys, I think that's it. Thanks for watching. Remember to check out the game Steam and Iron. It's quite a fun little gem, I think. And if you like naval warfare and probably World War history, I think you will like this one because you don't just get scenarios. I mean, I've looked at other games that's currently still being being marketed. Um, they come with scenarios, but they don't have campaigns. This is the game that I found that actually has a dynamic campaign built in it. So I think it's much more enjoyable if you want to have a kind of a campaign experience. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.